All right, guys, welcome back to Football United TV. This is Gunners from All Corners, the show where we say Arsenal in multiple different languages. We have a star-studded evening tonight for you guys, right after the intro. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. This is I was looking forward to this one. We have a good lineup. Brian's joining us very soon, and we also have a lot to talk about. But first, let me introduce the really good panel that we have for you guys tonight. First of all, Nils, royalty in the house. Olive Queen, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
All right. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Steven, my good friend, always here. Always welcome, though. How are you, my friend?
I'm not too bad, you?
Yeah, doing all right. Doing all right. A little tired. And Caio, meu amigo. You good?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me again.
It's
Let's
always a
talk about
pleasure, man.
Arsenal.
Always a pleasure. If by some chance you speak Portuguese and you're watching this, please check his content because it's out of this world, guys. Like I get really frustrated because of the language barrier. Because podcasts are kind of like tough to subtitle, you know. But if you have a chance, do check it out. I'm looking for the okay, that's the one. We have a lot to talk about today. I want to touch on this very briefly because it's the most negative of everything we're going to be touching on. Well, not really, but defeat to Nottingham. That was a really frustrating game. We've been on a really good run, not necessarily result wise, but performance wise. We've been solid for a good couple of games. So I want to give you guys thoughts on probably our worst performance in like 2 months or so. Starting with you, Nils. How'd you feel about that game?
Um, really, really disappointed. Quite surprised, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I just had this thing that last time we went to Nottingham, third round, and went out, that it was a possibility. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
impossible. Um, so pre-game, I didn't really go into it with any expectations that we would definitely win, although I didn't see any reason why we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Quite looking forward to moving on to the next round, but in my head, there was just something saying, it's not a guarantee, mate. Don't get too excited. And then
Yeah.
as I was watching the game, I was just, I just said, they're gonna, they're gonna do something here, and we're just, it's like watching a different team, and it was very disappointing, really disappointing.
Yeah.
So, that's. I will say though, at the start of the season, everyone was saying, "What's a good season to you? What would you describe as a good season?" And everyone said, well, a lot of people said FA Cup and a top six finish would be good, would be a good season. Personally, I thought a top six finish would be a good season for us. It would show improvement. Just a top six finish. I wasn't expecting any cups really.
Yeah.
Um, but as the season went on, the back end of the season, sort of November, December, I started getting a bit of hope that actually we look like we look like we might be turning a corner, and then a cup is a possibility. And out of the two, I like the FA Cup much more than the Carabao. So I think as an Arsenal fan, as the team that have got the most FA Cups and our, you know, affiliation with it, it was disappointing, but not unexpected, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on everything. I think I got more frustrated because I was definitely very confident. Like I
Mm,
was not fearful of that game whatsoever. Caio, do you
yeah.
have anything different to say? What are your quick thoughts on that game?
Yeah, for sure, it was a disappointing game. But the thing is that in 2020, we won the FA Cup, and that meant nothing in relation to the next season, to the
Yeah.
season ahead. And I was very happy when we won in 2020, even more so because we won against Chelsea and against Lampard. But the thing is that in the points that we are in our development as a team, I don't think that this title would mean very much. In the beginning of the project, when Arteta first came in, I thought it was good validation, but uh, ended up not being good validation at all. It was just it's always good to win, of course. I'm not against that, but I think that we should focus heavily on getting top four this season. I didn't think we could achieve top four in the beginning of the season, but now that we are in the mix up, I think that the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, they can't get me excited about them anymore, unfortunately, because it has been a long time since we played the Champions League, and I would really, really, really like to see us being compared to the top clubs in Europe. So, of course, it hurts. The game was a disappointment again, but I'd much rather see us getting top four this season.
Yeah, man. All right. Good. Steven, quick thoughts on Nottingham defeat. Okay.
The Nottingham
You look
Forest.
excited to talk. Oh,
Mhm.
just 1 second before you start, let's welcome Ryan. How are
What's
you,
going
buddy?
on? Can you guys hear me? My thing's low.
Yeah, yeah.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's a bit low though. I don't know. I had to use my phone. My laptop just decided to not be friends with me today. So
Man. Sorry to hear
hold on. Let
that.
me let me come back. Let me come back. Sorry guys.
All good. All good.
This is so unprofessional. I'm so sorry. Sorry,
It's
give me one
fine, mate.
second. I promise. One sec.
Right, Steven, go on.
Ah, well, do you know what that was an example of?
What?
Here's one reason why you've left an 18-year-old to the lamb to the slaughter, and the reason for that, and the real reason for that is we decided we're gonna sell Ainsley Maitland-Niles
Low now.
with no backup, with no replacement on the cards to bring in. Now, instead of doing what a big club should, which is say to him, I don't care if you want game time, the club comes first, and you need to help the club out because we need you, because certain players are out with COVID, certain players are injured, some players are at AFCON, and it means we're light in the midfield. So until we get a replacement in, we can't sell you. Simple as that. Loads of clubs have done it. Loads of clubs have been successful with it. So that would have meant we would have played with a much more experienced midfield. Instead, we played the Congo and Patino. The Congo can basically hold the team. Patino, as much as Patino's a great talent, the Congo couldn't hold his ball. Like, he couldn't hold his baby ball, like, because he weren't ready. Right? And the Congo's only a 21-year-old himself. Like, so we got exposed. And Nottingham Forest pretty much like didn't have much of an opposition at midfield because the midfield was non-existent all game. It was just sloppy, slow, pathetic. The actual game again just sums up why I have still in those pressured games don't have any faith in Arteta because it's another pressured game with half a side and he's proven yet again, unless he's got a full strength side, he can't win. He can't win. Simple as that. That side, I don't care if it's young or not, he should be winning that game, right? But the fact is, even if though it's a half a side and you still can't win that game, is pretty poor in my opinion. And don't forget, these people that love to say, "Oh, it's just oh yeah, these Arsenal fans that or whatever fans they want to call themselves, they come up and say after that game, yeah, well, you can't have a go at him. He was playing a young squad. Well, hang on. You keep going on about Project Youth. Project Youth you keep going on about. So, of course it's going to be a young squad. So, when we played our first team, you're going to say that's a young squad as well? Like,
All right.
just-
While the three of you think about if you want to disagree with any of that, I'm gonna read the comments real quick. Okay. Big up Takemu, my friend. Always a pleasure. Big up lads. Okay. Big up cousin. It was embarrassing to lose to a championship team. Let's be honest. Of course, absolutely. Vivian, awesome to have you back. Love you, my friend. Hope you're doing all
big
right.
up, Vivian.
Yes. Immediately I saw the draws. I just had a flashback of the last time we went to Nottingham, and immediately I felt this trepidation. And immediately the goal went in. I just felt so deflated. Yeah, I mean that's probably how most fans felt. Big up Vivian, big up the panel, Maddie, changing some words with us here. Right, Ryan, want to give us your quick thoughts on that defeat?
Oh boy, where did we begin? The most for me, it just showed the lack of depth that we had. The midfield for me, I'll probably start really. I said this in the summer, like at the time, I'm gonna keep saying this. At the time, I was screaming, "We need a central midfielder." They decided to keep Xhaka, even though a lot of people, including myself, were like, "No, didn't." You know, they didn't go and get another one. Okay, they got Lokonga, but we do like, no, we need a ready-made person.
Yeah.
That game showed me that we needed a ready-made person. So it was just stupid. Patino, nowhere near ready for that type of situation. I thought that if anything, it just threw him under the bus. Lokonga ain't played in God knows how long, so of course he's going to be super duper rusty. Um, the defense, I mean, they didn't exactly make themselves look great, did they? Let's be honest. I think everybody, Tierney was okay when he came on. Tavares was awful. Um, I thought him getting pulled off was justified. I know a lot of people have different opinions. That's fair enough. But I thought it was justified. I thought he was playing awful, personally. Um, Holding, not a fan of him. Never really been. Anyone else? Going forward, the forward three, Martinelli, Saka, weren't up to it.
Yeah.
They just weren't up to it. And Nketiah, I mean, do we need to say any more?
No
So
problem.
overall, it just said to me the depth was not good enough. I had a bad feeling about that game, to be honest with you guys. Yeah, look right now, we're struggling to get into a centre midfielder right now. And how many games ago was that? You know. So for me, poor performance. Nottingham deserved it, and yeah, just something these lot got to seriously got to look at going forward. It's my personal opinion.
All right. All right. A lot of people are saying they had a bad feeling about this. I wish I did. 'Cause I got a lot more disappointed. Okay, does anyone have anything to add about that game? Because I want to move on to the Liverpool game. Go ahead.
Obviously, it's not the case. But if I was skeptical, I would look at that team bringing on Patino in that game. Not really, didn't look like he was taking it very seriously. It looked like, and I know he didn't, but has he got his eyes on league position, the Carabao Cup, which is now becoming a bit of more of a reality? I don't know. I'm not saying he threw the game. I don't think Arteta's that type. But that team, that squad, they were not ready for that. They were. It's like they were thrown together.
To be fair, like he didn't really have a choice because Xhaka was still out with Bettina. And this is like we're saying, like when we're gonna go further into it, but even then, tactically, we were all wrong. Like tactically, we were all wrong. Now people can blame the players to a certain point. You can, because up to a certain point, it is the player's fault. But I've already said this. Like in the end, who picks the team, who sets the tactics, is the manager. It's a 50-50, right? And both parties did not live up to expectations. So they've both got to take part of the blame in this, right? Don't forget, he's also Arteta who came out and apologised for it, right? He also did that against Southampton as well when we got knocked out last season, right? And it was, and I remember the time at the time, everyone that was still in his camp were going, yeah, but the 3 points because we played Southampton 3 days later, they're more important. Well, where did we end up that season? 8th with what? Oh yeah, no Europe. So that 3 points is really important, right? So hopefully this season he's in a better position this season to be actually make sure that this time when we get knocked out of the FA Cup like that, we can actually still end up in Europe, not actually end up with nothing at all.
Yeah. All right. Right. Well, you could argue that Arteta's tactics, as of lately, have been awarding us with good results and good performances, like great transition to Liverpool's game. Okay. I was actually watching it with Steven on a watch along. It was a boring game. Not gonna lie here and say that I
Yeah, I
enjoyed
wish
myself watching that. That
mine used.
was that
Sorry,
was
I'd love to have you back on a watch it on Marley side, but I'm sorry, man. But like, they're usually a bit more lively than that.
yeah, that was just a horrible time. I did not enjoy myself watching that. I had a really bad feeling throughout the game. It didn't like the matchups just didn't really seem to go our way, but we pulled it off. And by the end of it, I was really proud and happy with the result, if I'm being honest. A draw away with the team we had, great. Great. Plus, the first team in a really long time not to concede goals at Enfield, right? Because Liverpool's attack usually, I know they don't have the two killers up front, they usually do, but still. Okay, you guys' thoughts. Let's start with you, Nils. Let's repeat the order.
I was there last night. I took my grandson,
Yes. Yes.
and he's like a little, I don't know, he's like a little commentator, and he like talks through the game, and he's so cute. But at first we kept looking at each other, going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, they're gonna score, they're gonna score, they're gonna score. Oh my god, what are we doing? What are we doing?" But then as the game went on, you could really see, like, especially when we went down to 10 men, Saka, Martinelli. It's like they were proper fighting to you know get something or stop them. I think it was a sense of real pride. The away fans as well were really loud and vocal, so that I think that helped them, because players always say that they it feels like the 12th man. But yeah, it was a really good sort of second half, I would say, more than the first half. Was just really like proper felt it, and the near it got to the end, you just kind of felt we'd done well, even though it was a 0-0 draw. And we're not a kind of team club that celebrates draws, but that was a good result with 10 men at Anfield.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think many people can argue with any of that. By the way, 7 people watching right now. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Caillou, in addition to your general thoughts, I want to ask, and this specifically, how good has Ben White been lately? Because I feel like he's been really underrated lately, and I'm sure that's going to get a reaction from someone here. Go ahead, Caillou.
Yes, I'm afraid of speaking about Ben White because I know Steven will come at me because of it. Yeah, no, I thought it was a nervy game. I was very nervous throughout the game. I don't know if your strange feeling was something like that, but I was very nervous because I had that feeling that in another season in the past we might have get bettered by Liverpool. I don't know. That game could have ended up like 7-0, 5-0.
Oh
But
no.
we, yeah, yeah, yeah. But sure, we managed to keep it a draw, and I was very happy with it. And as I went through the game in my head, I really got the feeling that these are the kind of games that build the relationship between the players, that make that strong bond, that connection, so that they can feel like they can go through the war together.
I see.
So I thought it was a good game by that perspective.
Yeah.
And about Ben White, I think that he's stupendous, really. I was thinking about it when I was coming home today, and I, I will not say that he's been better than Gabriel, and I know you are a big fan of Gabriel, but I
Only a
do
little bit.
think that Ben White has shown some calmness and some solitude in his way of playing that Gabriel is still to master. I think sometimes Gabriel is very rash in the way he approaches the duels and ground duels, aerial duels, and he's so good, he's so physical that most of times he managed to get the ball back to win the duels. But Ben White, he's not that rash. He's more calm, and I think that that's a very very good skill to have. And I'm so impressed with him. Maybe his ball playing abilities could have been better, as Stephen mentioned it in the last live, but I don't know. I'm so happy with him, and I think that with time, maybe 2 3 seasons from now, we will be looking back at the 50 million price tag, and we will say, oh, okay, it was not that hefty. I think that maybe it was worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. I actually agree with you. I still think Gabriel's the better defender. I'm a huge fan of GMag. I do love the guy, but
G
I
Mag.
GMag, Gabriel Magalhães, GMag.
G
So
Mag.
it's sketchy. I don't know why it hasn't caught up.
We, we, we
Anyway,
call we call Gabriel Martinelli as Gabi and Gabriel Magalhães as G Mag.
yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? It's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But anyway, lately I feel like for the last month or so, Ben White has been the better defender. I feel like he's been the best of the partnership. I still feel like Gabriel's the better player overall. Before we go to Steven, because I'm sure he wants to touch on that heavily, Ryan, what are your thoughts on both the game and Ben White? Actually, I don't know your opinion on that.
The game itself. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I came in the game thinking, "Oh God, it's gonna be torture."
Yeah,
Um, but I was very happy, especially the second half, with the way we defended. Even though Liverpool looked a little flat, I feel like there's not much credit given to us, and I felt we just handled them well. I just felt if a certain someone stayed on the pitch, or maybe another bet of we had 11 men, I think we actually could have potentially maybe nicked something, maybe even got a goal potentially. I'm not
yeah,
sure, but as the game kind of developed, however, I just think we did what we needed to do. I was very impressed with everybody, especially Ben White, who I've been critical of him at times because I say some days he defends well. Like yesterday, I think for me that was probably one of his best performances. And then there's
if
times
not the
where I just
best.
kind of feel like, not, not really up to it. Like the
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest game the other day, I just thought he was awful. But compared to the others, he stood out better. But one thing I've always noticed, when he's with Gabriel, he's a better defender.
Yeah.
But if he's Rob Holding, he's not really that great. And I know Rob Holding had to come on later, but Gabriel was still there. So to be honest with you, I just felt, he had a very good game. He stood out, and yeah, that's just that's just my thoughts on the game personally. I just thought we did well, but you know, we got to do the business in the home tie. That's all that
Yeah.
needs to be said.
For sure, for sure. Okay. Before we go to Steven, I just want to point out two things quickly. First of all, I feel like most defenders would perform better next to Gabriel than next to Holding. That would be the case most times. But also, like with all that suffering that happened last night, and sure, Liverpool looked like the if someone was going to win that game, it was them. I feel like the best chance in the game was Saka's miss, was it not? Like the clearest chance throughout the whole game. So I feel like our defense did an amazing job, and pretty much everyone defended, right? Like Laka was a warrior, Saka was amazing, Ben White, as you guys just pointed out. All right, Steven,
Hmm.
unleash the beast. Go ahead.
Alright, what do we have to say about this guy, honestly? Let's bring everyone back to football and bring it back down to earth,
Behave,
shall we?
behave, okay?
Me, behave, get real. Um, Not when it comes to talking sense. Um, right, simple as this. Like, there's a reason why also when you don't play Gabriel next to him, he's worse. Like, because he gets exposed. Like, half the time I'm watching him, you give the ball to him and it's like, it's like, do me a favour, pass it to anyone, just get the ball off your feet. Like, you look like, and it looks like Gabriel is the better ball playing centre back than he is.
He is the better ball playing center back.
Yeah, but like, when I've seen it at Nottingham Forest game, for example, again, not tracking the runner. Not tracking the runner. Like, he could have quite easily stick a foot in if he tracks the guy who ends up scoring. He doesn't. And when you sit there in a press conference, or you sit there in an interview and it goes, oh, I don't watch football. So you're not gonna watch your own games to see where you need to improve. You're not gonna watch other defenders to see what they're doing to improve your game. Because if you're not, do me yourself a favour, get lost. I want players that will sit there and watch and analyse their game day in, day out until they improve. Because until that happens, we ain't getting anywhere. Like, you want players with dedication that and are happy to watch their own performances, right? So, if he's not prepared to do that for the benefit of the club, then go somewhere else.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
sorry, like, as much as he might be doing alright recently, most of the joy of the game he hasn't been.
Okay. Well, let me read some comments real quick. I do want to say something about. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead. While I read this.
I'm pretty sure he said he watches his own game. It's just he don't watch football. I remember that interview. I'm pretty sure he pretty said that he's not he don't watch football. He hasn't studied any previous defenders, and that ruffled even me myself. To be honest with you, because I'm just thinking to myself, you're a defender. Like you must. I'm sure you must study someone. I mean, when I used to play Sunday league football, I used to bloody watch Sol Campbell all the time when I was younger. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I mean, I heard him say he watches his own game, and to be honest with you, I hear where Steven's coming about, but at the same time, I kind of feel like we'll see what happens in there. I'm not like Anthony. I'm not hundred
Yeah.
percent sold on him just yet, but he is kind of turning me around a little bit in terms of where I was, where it's like, oh, he's a waste of money, compared to now, and I think, all right, I've seen good games, but I've seen bad games. Just be consistent. So that's all I
That's the
kind of got
problem.
to say with Ben White.
Yeah.
That's all he's got to do. Just be
It's
consistent.
alright. It's
But
alright being
One
like one
second.
of
Big up
two
Solo.
games.
Big up Luca. And big up
Most of
Maddie
the time,
once again.
most of the time I've seen him play, right,
mm,
and he's been there for a while now. Like, Gabriel sometimes even has to step in to bail him out. Like, and I've seen that on a number of occasions. Like, and you might produce the one-off game where he's done really well, and that's great. But if you're not going to do it 4 out of 5 games, and you're not going to improve so you can do it 4 out of 5 games, then I don't want you here. I want people that are going to risk, that they're going to sit there, stay up, even have to stay up all night analysing the game. Like,
Do you think he's
just
awful?
the dedication.
Yeah, I don't. I mean,
don't rate him.
I get not loving Ben White, but I simply can't understand like thinking he's awful
not-
by
people-
now. But one second. I think like the whole partnership thing, like if he gets exposed when he's not playing with Gabriel Magalhães, dude. There's a reason why no formation in the world has only one center back, right? Like it's always a center back partnership, and if your partner is better, like you're gonna perform better. Always. That's it, it's not only with Ben White. But before, I'm sure you have more stuff to say. Nil's the only one that didn't get a chance of talking about Ben White. So I want to hear your thoughts on him, because it's become a conversation.
I'm a bit on the fence with him.
Okay.
I like him. I think it will take a bit longer for him to. Some players just don't gel in the same way as others. Some take a bit longer. I take on board the criticisms. I'm not really on that. That he doesn't watch football. It seemed weird, but that's up to him. But if he watches his own game and does his own analysis, and I'm sure Arteta will tell him where he wants to improve. Has he had enough game time to, I don't know. I'll be honest. To me, he's one of the team, and he plays a role. I do like what we calling him, G-Mag. I do like him a lot, and I do tend to keep my eye on him and watch him. Ben White just seems to be there. Like, I don't think he's done anything particularly spectacular that you go away and think, oh my God, remember when Ben White did that? As of yet. But I think he will grow into his role in the team. So I'm not a big fan, but I don't dislike the guy. I think that there's time for him to grow into his role.
Okay, fair enough. Steven, did any of that convince you otherwise, or like
Nope.
remind you of anything else to say?
Like, I don't rate the guy, and the fact we paid 50 million for him is a joke. I would have if you give me the option of a stick of rock, right, or Ben White to spend 50 million on, I'll take the stick of rock. To be honest.
Damn, it's that bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't rate him.
I hear that.
To be honest, for me, it makes no difference if Rob Holding's in there or freaking Ben White's in there.
Oh,
No, I think he's better than Rob Holding.
He's
I don't think he's that bad.
Yeah, but not by a lot.
He's better than Holding.
But not by a lot.
he's a lot better than.
Not by a
Not
lot.
by a lot.
Holding
Not by a
could
lot.
barely move. Holding could barely do anything sensible. I mean, Ben White has his moments. I'm not.
Yeah, but then Gabriel's doing also the same thing that he's doing for Ben White that he does with Holding.
Also, Gabriel
bail
has
him
his
out.
moments as well. That's not.
Yeah,
I
we
hear what
know
you're
that.
saying.
We saw that.
We
We
all
saw
have
that
it.
in Man City. But it's like I don't see. Like, it's for me. It's just I would I'm sorry, but I would. I just don't rate him at all. And the fact
That's
we paid
fine,
50
sure,
million
bro.
it's just a complete joke. For the fact we
Well,
spent 50 million on him.
But that's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to
There's
sit
plenty
there
of
and
young
chat shit.
defenders we could have spent 50 million on. Plenty of them.
Who do you think we could have spent 50 million on? I mean, I was a bit annoyed that we didn't give Saliba a go. If I'm honest. Well,
That's the thing. We didn't need the thing. We had Saliba. Why did we need?
no, but we
to spend
did need
50
another
million?
centre back still.
He's coming back next
Yeah.
season, guys. He's coming
Yeah,
back next season.
but
We have
hang
to,
on
we
a
have
minute,
to
Marley.
move on though. 'Cause
Yeah, but Marley, we were told that this season he was coming back.
Yes, we
When
think
is
were.
he
about the
coming back?
future, mate, not
This
the
is
past.
this is the thing. They change their tune every year, right? Last year we were all everyone that was on the Arteta camp was saying he's coming back this year. Well, where is
Mate,
he? Now he's
Steven,
coming back next year.
Steven, well, he's been loaned out again. They're saying he's coming back. Like,
If he does,
if you go
if,
to France and
I
shoot him,
don't
then.
believe
Like,
it. Yeah, but
they're
I
saying
don't
he's
believe
coming
it.
back.
But I don't
But you
believe
know
it
what? I will say this. I
because
will say
they've
this.
already said
Go on, go on, go
this.
on.
So for
Yo,
me,
talk.
they've already said this to me, right?
Mm.
So it will just if he only said, "Oh, we told you to come back this season." No, the only reason I'll work that one out is if actually Arteta decides I'm not going to do it this season, right? That's the only way they'll actually work it out. It's not actually it's a done given fact, right? So for me, I just like I have if he doesn't have Saliba in the squad this for next season, right?
Mm.
Then do me yourself a favour and just sell him
Mm.
because you clearly don't want him.
Right. Guys, it's Friday night,
Which
so
is a
it
joke
gets to
anyway.
it gets to a time where I have no idea what Matt is saying. I don't get this joke, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Steven, wouldn't you prefer Norfolk stick of rock? No clue what that means. I'm sure Kaio doesn't either.
Norfolk it's the county above where I live.
Oh.
Okay, there it is. Okay, and
Any
this
stick of
one,
rock.
I'm even more lost in here. Anthony Herbert loves a swig of Scrumpy Jack. No clue. No clue. Sure. Not gonna disagree with that. Thanks for participating, Maddie, as always. Okay, we move to. Does anyone have anything else to say about the Liverpool game?
I just want to say a quick thing
Yeah.
that I think this is a bit of a bitter taste of medicine for Jurgen Klopp, who went all out and tried his best to gain the advantage when actually I don't think I think he totally underestimated Arsenal, and I think that we gave him a little taste of karma, and I'm hoping now that it's us with the advantage and that we can beat them in the next round in the in the second leg,
Yeah.
because I think if there's anybody that deserves to go out this competition, it's him, because what he did was just terrible in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not going to swear, but I hope
No.
Klopp's suffering. I really do.
I feel like as a human being, Klopp's a wonderful manager. Like that's all I'm gonna say. He's a great manager, but yeah, he does kind of like come out as a navel. I I feel like he does a lot of sketchy stuff. He says a lot of sketchy stuff as well. Um, all right, let anyone else have anything else to add about that game, because we're moving on to this one. This one's a little sensitive. This one gets on
Sensitive.
most
Oh
people's
no.
nerves.
Oh no, this is not sensitive at all. I think we do. I think any Arsenal
You might need the
podcast.
censoring button.
Yeah, yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth. You took the words right out of my mouth. This is not sensitive at all. We've been talking about Xhaka for about 5, 6 years, so this is pretty normal. You know.
All I'm gonna say is
So
I'll take the
we
2
don't want to talk
contracts.
about Xhaka. Yeah. Well, I mean, I look at every other manager as well as Arteta, so I just want to make that. I just want to say that.
Oh, I want to. I'm gonna start with this because I feel like most people see Xhaka as like some people see him as a good footballer, like with good
Ow.
skills for a footballer, but most people acknowledge that he does a lot of stupid crap. Like that's the worst part of his game. Like he has weird, dumb mistakes in his game. But I should ask, is there sort of an influence because of the how do I put this? Because of the reputation he has. Like he's had like 5 red cards ever since he joined Arsenal. Should it probably be 3? He's probably conceded like 25 PKs. Should it probably be like 15 instead? Let's start with you, Nils.
Okay, so Xhaka is, one of these subjects that you'll have 90% of the fan base agreeing on, and there'll be that 10% that probably have a different outlook, and I'm a little bit in that 10%. I think Xhaka is a good footballer. I think he is a leader. I know people don't agree with that, but I just think because of his seniority, the younger players have already said they enjoy playing with him, they look up to him. He can kind of like provide that strength in defense on the field, but his mistakes obviously are an issue. But I think he said it himself. some refs, a lot of refs, will look at players like him, David Luiz, and because it's them. So, how many videos have we seen of Xhaka doing something, and then someone from another club doing the same thing and not being given as heavy, like giving him a yellow instead of a red, or not being given a foul or whatever, or not getting a free kick, and it's exactly the same thing. So, this whole reputational fouls, reputational red cards, reputational because it's Xhaka is a theory. It's not a fact, but it's something that does swim through my head. I'm David Luiz as well. Remember when he got that red and somebody else did exactly the same thing and didn't. So I don't know. I thought that along those lines though.
Yeah, no, I get it. And by the way, before I move on to the next person, I should say the fact that there's sort of a reputation in play there. Like it does get in the mix of refs' decisions for sure. You can see double standards with players like Xhaka, with players like David Luiz. You're absolutely right. It doesn't mean we're saying that they don't make stupid mistakes, right?
Of
Like
course, yeah,
both
I
are
agree.
true. Both are very
Yeah.
true. Like Xhaka should not be pulling Bernardo Silva's shirt, even though that was never a PK. But like he puts himself in that situation, just like I honestly thought it was a yellow yesterday. I know most people thought it was a red. I thought it was a yellow,
No.
but he
No,
should
no, that was a
never
red.
be in that situation. All right, Steven does look like he's itching to talk, so I'm gonna go to Caillou. Caillou, what are your what are your thoughts on this matter?
I think that it is clear the referees do have an agenda against Xhaka. I would say that,
That's a
but
trigger
at the
word.
same time, I can't agree with most of the things that Xhaka does when he loses his head. So yeah, I don't have much to say about this because I am really fed up with Shaka. I think he's a great player when he's not doing something stupid, but most of times he's doing something stupid. So it's difficult to defend him. So this season, maybe last season he was more consistent on not doing stupid things, but this season especially not getting vaccinated, losing a lot of games. Then
Oh, really?
he had yeah
I'm getting
yeah
vaccinated.
Mm-mm.
yeah. He got the red card against City. He got the red card now, and he could have been sent off against Leeds. So it's difficult. I don't know. I don't know what much more I can say about that. I really I really wish we could have Bruno G Mag as a replacement for Shaka.
He'd
So
be B Gims, B Gims,
big games, big games.
B
Yeah.
Gims. Yeah, that'd be okay. Steven, you're next. I'm gonna give you 2 seconds to breathe though, because I want to read some comments here. Big up Luca once again. Xhaka was stupid for that tackle and getting sent off, but how many chances can we give him? I'm honestly done. Like I do see the agenda against him, but I want him out. Like one thing doesn't eliminate the other one. Uh, Mate, I'm sorry. Disappointed again. Dude, I apologize. I avoid going over 5 people because I want to give everyone chance to talk like as much as I can. But I am open to make an exception if you show your beautiful face. So if you agree to that, I'll send you the link, my man. Uh, okay, Steven, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, this Bellend, honestly.
Behave.
No, Xhaka. If he can't behave, I can't behave.
He's a
This
leader, remember?
This stream is not
this
managed by
is this
Arteta,
guy.
mate.
This guy is a leader, mate. He couldn't, mate. He couldn't lead. He couldn't lead the mouse with a pipe.
Oh
Honestly,
my.
mate. Honestly,
I'm not sure what that means, but okay.
mate. He could be by the pipe like Billy the Piper, and he couldn't get the
Oh.
rats to follow him. Like, honestly, like this guy has made the most mistakes in lead up to goals than any other player since he turned up in the league. The most red cards as well. Do I have to keep like? Do I have to go any further? Like, this guy decided also in the 5-0 defeat against City after about 20 minutes, we're 2-0 down. I'm just gonna 2-foot someone and go in the dressing room. I don't fancy playing today, guys. Right, so I'm just gonna take someone out, like, because I don't fancy doing it anymore. That's our leader, right? And yet when Lacazette came off, we gave him the armband back, though he told us after he chucked it on the floor and told us to F off. Yeah? Well, Xhaka, F off. Like, do yourself a favour. Actually, I won't say F off. Fuck off. Like, get out of my club. I'm
We're
sorry,
doing
man.
so well.
No,
We're doing so
no,
well.
no,
45
no,
minutes without scoring.
No, I'm sorry. I
Cover
can't have
record.
it. No, when it comes to him, right, this guy still thinks he's got a position to say he's got, as I don't have to apologise to the fans. Who the hell are you? You ain't done
But
nothing
he,
in
but
your
he
career.
did. To be fair, he did apologise.
Like, yeah,
When?
by what? Getting himself
He
sent off again?
apologised. He apologised on
When?
Instagram and
Not when.
apologised
Oh,
for his
yesterday.
behaviour.
Come on.
No, not yesterday. When he spat his dummy out, he apologised.
That was
People-
not
No, he came out
a
and said he
quick-
didn't have to.
People are quick to point out what he did, and I'm not saying that what he did was right, but he did apologise for his behaviour. I know that for a fact, but that's, to me, that's in the past. I think we should be looking at
But even
now.
then, he's not good enough.
Let
He's
her
not
finish.
good
Let her
on-
finish. Let her finish.
I get where you're getting at, Olive, but
whether he's good enough or not. I think that is the question, not really like what he did and towards the fans, because you could argue that things were going on for him and blah blah blah. Is he good enough? I don't know, but what I do know is that he was about to walk away and go to Roma with Jose,
Good.
and all of a sudden
Yeah, we.
he's signing a contract for us. Somebody made that decision to so what's going on in the club and what's going on in the dressing room, what's going on with the team, right? Aside from what's going on the pitch, there's a reason that Xhaka is staying, and I'm not saying whether he should stay or go, but I'm saying that realistically, Arteta is going to keep playing him with all these
why?
mistakes
Hang on a
in
minute.
him.
Can I just make a point?
Guys,
Is what is
calm
it?
down,
Whether
calm
if
down,
whether hang on, whether it's been like.
Don't fight.
But look, no, it's fine. It's fine. But look, whether it's what's happened with, like, if despite that, like, he can apologise for every mistake he makes. He keeps doing the same thing. So the apology doesn't mean much, because you in the next big game you'll do the same thing again.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when it comes down to it, you were on your way out because you didn't want to be at the club. Arteta begged you to stay, right? And then you kept doing the same mistakes again and again and again and again and again. And then when you're on your way out to Roma, which was pretty much a done deal, someone all of a sudden wanted an extra 6 million, 5 million, whatever it was. I don't know why, because he's not worth 50 pence to me, to be honest. Like, that's just my personal opinion. Like, and someone decided, because of that, we're going to give him a new contract. I think that's between Edu and Arteta, because Arteta's the manager. He's not the head coach, he's the manager, which means he gets a say in this. So it's between him and Edu, for me. Whether it's either one of them or both in a joint decision, I don't know. But they've kept him on for 2 contracts. 2 contracts he does not deserve to have. Right? I don't care if we didn't sell him, we had to stick him in the bloody reserves for the rest of the season and let him go on a free. He does not deserve to be at this football club anymore. He's not good enough. When are people going to wake up and realise that I'd rather get a midfielder that, yeah, might be aggressive, but he uses his head, right? The reason he gets an agenda with referees is because, simple as this, he doesn't think when he goes into challenges. Every time I see him, he goes into a challenge. He just dives on the floor like that, 2-footing. Right? He nearly took someone out against City. He nearly took Sterling out in City, which would have ended in 2 bookings. He does it every time he goes into a challenge, right? And sooner or later, he ends up catching someone like he did against Liverpool. And I don't care what anyone says, Jota could have taken that down in one touch and let off a shot in the next. Then that's a goal scoring opportunity. Before Gabriel would have come across. Now that's just sending off. Just end off.
Mate,
It's just sending
I
off.
I respect most people that think it's a red card. I thought it was a yellow. But before I go on, I should say I agree with Steven. I don't agree with how much it's like how often it's brought up, like the whole like it's an Arteta and Edu and Xhaka is still here. I
He
get a little
shouldn't be
tired,
here.
but he's right. Like I don't disagree with him whatsoever. But I should say on the whole reputation thing, when it comes to red cards and penalties, I'm sorry, once VAR is here, reputation should never come into play. It doesn't matter that he usually doesn't
But
think when
but the
he's
thing
going into a
is,
challenge.
but the
If it's a red card for him, it should be a red card for someone else. But I got to go to Ryan, though, because he hasn't had a
yeah, I
chance to
will say that, but
comment.
you can't blame the rest for thinking that, right? When he's been like that in the past.
But you have VAR, mate. You have VAR. So if a challenge is really violent for Xhaka and it's a red card, if someone else does something exactly the same, it needs to be a red card. Reputation doesn't need to come into play. It can't. It makes no sense. Neymar's diving, like Neymar's reputation, can't come into play. You know when he's diving, when he's not. So like VAR comes because of these things. But go ahead, Ryan. What are your thoughts? You've heard four people talk about the matter. What's the verdict?
I mean, Steven pretty much echoed everything I was going to say. I will say this, going back to what the lady was saying about the apology. I'm not going to lie. I when I read his words in response, and I'm not looking at it as I hate Xhaka. I'm putting that to the side. I'm looking at yesterday was more of an apology than he did back at the Palace game. That's all I'm going to say on that personally. But when you look at Granit Xhaka, time and time and time again, he has these brain dead moments. And look, I can blame Arteta and Eddie, but if you even go back to when Emery first come in, he got a new deal straight away within Emery's first window. People forget about that. So if anything, that's even worse. The guy was on his way out, and I've said this to people before. When was it? When Arteta come in, and he pretty much begged Xhaka to stay the first time round. Now, and Hertha Berlin was pretty much on the table. Xhaka was out. Now, I said, and this might be a little bit mad because I don't like Xhaka one bit. I said at the time, if it was a situation where we couldn't get we couldn't get no one. And remember, El Nene, who I don't like either, was out on loan, I think, at the time. So I said, raw, if it was a thing where, okay, he signs a pre-contract at the time, keep it till the summer, then he's off. If that was the case, I'd have been fine with it because at least I know he was going. But no, that didn't happen. This summer, working for Mourinho, them like having a little love affair during the Euros, I thought, oh, thank God it's over. Nope. Arsenal just penny pinching. Oh, no, we want more, we want more, we want more. Because of his decent performance for Switzerland. Let's be fair, he was pretty all right for Switzerland at the time. I'm going to give him the flowers for that. But other than that, when he plays for Arsenal, it's not good enough because I don't think he's good enough for the league. But not to run away from the Liverpool situation, look, I look at it like this. It's just another brain dead situation. He should know better. Steven said it perfectly. They say he's a leader, but he lets everybody down all the time. Do you know what I mean? I love the way how everybody coped yesterday because they're probably just thinking Xhaka just doing Xhaka things, and they just carried on. And we looked so much better without him, and we've done well
It's
when he was injured. Exactly, that's my point. Do you know what I mean? So it's
So why is Arteta picking him? I remember when Wenger used to get absolutely blasted, but people used to slag off the players, and then people would say, "Yeah, but Wenger's picking those players." Xhaka keeps getting picked. Now I know we've got slim pickings at the minute, but he will. He's the first name on that sheet. I bet for Arteta. You've got to ask
because he's got his favourites.
Why does Arteta keep picking a guy that
like
every
Wenger.
fan is saying?
It's like Wenger at the end of his career. He has his favourites. Xhaka
Mhm.
was one of his favourites.
Is
It's his
that a
favourites.
reason to play someone because
Right?
they're your
It
favourite?
is.
No,
It
I
is.
think
Oh,
I think
a
that's
lot
Well,
of
I
that's
think
where the
managers do it.
frustration.
Saka's
That's
the
where
first name on the team sheet. Xhaka's the first name on the team sheet. Partey's the first name on the team sheet. Gabriel's the first name on the team sheet.
okay.
Right?
Math wise, four people can't be first, but
Sorry.
Sorry.
but once I think that's mostly where the frustration comes from because Xhaka is actually technically our second best midfielder. If you're talking about CMs and DMs, Partey is the only
But
one that right
forcefully
now
though.
is better than him. What?
Well,
Forcefully
I
though.
keep. Do
Forcefully.
you know what I kept saying? Look, I've kept saying, like, and I know people go mad at me for it, like, but when I play the DM, I'd rather just someone that's safe and doesn't make mistakes, right, than someone who tries an extravagant ball, ends up bouncing it off a frigging striker and into the net, which is what Janny Xhaka has done there every time, or made a mistake every goddamn time in the midfield by playing two extravagant balls or thinking he's better than what he is. Like El Neni, as much as people have a go at him for never being more than a 7 out of 10 player, right, and he works for the team and just plays things simple and safe, which
Hmm.
is what you want as a DM. You want a calming influence in front of your back four, which is why I've said I always didn't mind having El Neni over Xhaka. So I felt more safe with El Neni there than Xhaka there.
That's actually fair. Like I know Xhaka's a better player, but I do feel safer as well. Does anyone have anything to add about the Xhaka thing? Because Matt actually brought up something interesting in the comments that we should talk about.
Well,
Anyone?
let me quickly say something. I didn't get to quite finish, but it's okay. I enjoyed everybody's point. But what I'll quickly say is, my thing is, and like she said earlier, why does Xhaka always get picked? I think it's just down to, you know, what Arteta sees in training, or he has a good relationship with him. Because I've always said this. If you notice, Guendouzi, even though me personally, if you ain't got the right attitude, you can go. And I liked Guendouzi at the time, but I just didn't like all the bullshit he was kind of coming with. So I just thought,
Yeah.
all right, cool, whatever, really. You take the L on that. I just didn't really agree with the sell, but whatever. Um, Pepe, when he got red carded at Leeds, didn't really like the way Arteta dealt with him, even though Pepe was kind of talking up in the press, but he just said what everybody thought. Just give me more minutes. But
Yeah.
Xhaka just does this time and time, and even with the Bamiyang
That's
situation,
true.
but that's not
That's a
the case.
great point.
He just does it all the time, and there's no real, um, there's nothing you can defend Xhaka on, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, we can blame Arteta and Edu. We can blame the hierarchy that decided to keep him on even before Arteta came in. We can blame Arsene Wenger as well from even saying, "Oh, don't pay the agency for the N'Golo Kante and bringing in Xhaka." At the end of the day, unfortunately, we just got to deal with him until something happens. So Xhaka is just Xhaka, more frustration until he decides to leave or someone crazy decides to buy him again. So I'm just gonna leave it as that.
All right. All right. Well, I usually try to stay within the hour. That's not happening tonight, but I am gonna try to go through the next subjects a little faster. Does anyone have anything else to add on the Xhaka thing? No. Okay.
Just sell him.
Yeah. No. That's
Nah.
that's what I want to happen as well. Okay. Before we talk about the NLD, this should actually have been a topic. Oba
Yeah.
problems with heart. News just on he's out of the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, unfortunately and fortunately, actually, in sports, it hasn't happened too much. But COVID, a lot of times, it's not only about the risk you have at the moment, but you do have some lasting, some lasting problems because of it. And apparently, very unfortunately, it's happened to Aubameyang. I haven't read too much about it, but it seems that he's developed a little heart condition because of COVID, and that worries me a lot. Like Aubameyang has not been good for Arsenal. He hasn't like I a couple of weeks ago I definitely wanted him gone. And I like as a footballer I still do, but I love the guy. Like I'm a huge fan of his, and even if I wasn't, I never wish something like that upon anyone. I hope he gets better. But did anyone read a little more thoroughly about this? Because that's all I know really.
I
I've read a
didn't.
little bit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, what did you say?
So basically, he's got these heart. It's classed as heart lesions. So I've done a little bit of research, and apparently, when you've had COVID, your body needs complete rest and recuperation to get back on track, and you're supposed to like slowly get back into what you're doing. But I believe that with footballers, if they go beyond a certain level of training regime, that it can make it, it can be a problem for the heart. This is completely different to other heart problems like myocarditis, which is
Yeah.
linked as a risk to the vaccine, which is a separate issue. And I think what's happened with Aubameyang, it looks like he's overworked, overtrained, or something has caused this problem, and they're taking him out as a precaution, as a consequence of having COVID quite recently, actually.
Yeah.
Also, there's a question around, because he had malaria, if there was some kind of residue and possible difficulty with him recovering from the COVID, even though it was quite a while ago. So I'm not a Oba fan at all, not on the pitch or off the pitch, not at all. And I'd be quite happy for him to be sold. But as a human being, the guy is suffering some kind of medical condition, and I wish him absolutely a full recovery. I would not wish that on anyone.
Yeah,
So
absolutely, absolutely, and I want him to be sold as well. And I should add, if malaria has anything to do with this, like if his health wasn't up to it recently, and he was being played by Arsenal, that's a huge mistake on Arsenal's part. Like it doesn't look good, but I don't care about how it looks. Like that's a little inhumane. They should be worried about players' health, and they should look into it better. Anyone want to say anything about that before we move on? Um, okay. Anyway, we wish Aubameyang a speedy recovery. Jordan, welcome back, my man. Big up yourself. Let's try to go through these a little faster. It's tough because it's the NLD that might not even happen. Like before we talk about the hypothetical game, what are you guys' thoughts on the whole situation that it might not happen? I know most people think like morally it should happen, but a lot of Arsenal fans are arguing, and I think I agree with them that a lot of teams have been given pretty much games off because of some COVID situations of like short squads, and like Arsenal should look to do the same if it's going to help us out a little bit. That's not me saying the game should be postponed, but I don't think Arsenal should be an exception when it comes to a little bit of help. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
We've
I
put
No,
ourselves in this situation.
want to hear Steven.
Okay, start with Steven then.
Well, right, we're all sitting there Liverpool got cancelled, right? I checked Twitter about it, and I made my point very clear. If there's 19 cases at the time, we didn't know, and if any of them were false positives or what, but we heard there were 19 cases, and plus we heard also that the under 23s and the under 18s all use the same facility at Liverpool, right? So you don't know if they've got an outbreak as well, because they could have been carrying it without even noticing. So, but all the Arsenal fans were sitting there saying, no, they should play the under 23s and under 18s, just get on with it, right? Now flip it a week later, we've now got no midfield because Maynard's gone. We've got only Lokonga spare. Smith Rowe's injured because of fatigue. Saka's fatigued. Half of these players are more not injured, just fatigued because the squad's not been managed properly by Arteta. And now all of a sudden, we're now sitting here saying, "Oh no, but it's not fair on us to play on the end of 23s and 18s. We haven't got a midfield." Well, that's a bit of double standard, isn't it? It's a bit hypocritical, isn't it? Because you're telling Liverpool to suck up and deal with it, right? And now you're saying you want the same treatment. Well, hang on. The reason we've been having this games postponed is because games are called off because of COVID situations, right? Liverpool had a genuine COVID symptom case to have it called off. We've got one case of COVID, one case. The rest of them is just natural injuries and suspensions um, or other factors that in any other situation, in any other season, you would have just had to deal with it and play with it anyway. So why is it we're getting? So why is it we deserve this treatment? Like, I'm
All right,
sorry,
all right.
we've put ourselves in this situation because, to be honest, if we had kept Maisie Maitland Niles and or had a replacement there by the time we sold him, we would have had him
Okay,
or the replacement, the
it's
Congo in the middle in as the two DMs, and we'd have Laka in the hole, and then we'd have Laka up front. We'd have a team, wouldn't we?
okay, mate. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this now.
Sorry.
Yeah, separate us a little bit because it might get a little ugly. That's the thing. I'm not even the biggest Arteta fan, yeah, but hardcore Arteta outers like one of my best friends, Steven here is. They exaggerate way too much.
Oh,
See,
come
ESR
on.
thing, Steven, don't. I'm gonna be talking for a couple minutes here, mate. So calm down. ESR has been on the bench for over a month. How's he fatigued? See, like people start coming up with arguments
No,
to
they've got
attack
a groin
Arteta that
injury.
make
He's
no
got a groin
sense. One
injury.
second, one
He's got a groin
second, one
injury.
second, one second. Yeah, he can't be fatigued. He's been on the bench. He's been on the
He's got
bench.
a
He
groin
hasn't started to play.
injury.
He hasn't started a game in forever, mate. How's he like?
But he can
It
pick
doesn't
up
make
a groin injury in training.
dude,
He is injured, bro.
that's not making any sense. And
Well, that's what they said. That's what
a
they've
big
said.
thing is the Ainsley Maitland-Niles thing was definitely a mistake. I agree with you there, but that's not the conversation we're having. The thing is, Arsenal doesn't have enough available players. Thus, we should be given the same treatment that before. Sure, we're complaining that they should be playing the under 23s, and it would be hypocritical to say something else now. But if they didn't have to play the under 23s because the game was postponed, we should be given the same thing. That's the thing. It's about double standards. It's about double standards. That's my thoughts. What's everyone else's thoughts? I love you, Stephen. I love you to death. Nils, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Okay,
Groin
I,
injury, not fatigue.
You
I've got
said he was fatigued.
I've got specific things about this, and it's not straight cut. So, firstly, number one, I want the game to go ahead because I live quite away from the Emirates, and selfishly, I don't want to have to lose any money on trains and having to rearrange my tickets and God knows what else. I've already cancelled my hotel because I've done it so that I go back on the same night, got the game back at 11 o'clock at night, but I don't mind. But selfishly, I want the game to go ahead because it affects my personal situation when we have to rebook trains and all that, because that's number one. But number two, I kind of feel like my understanding of the new COVID rules do include AFCON and injuries and God knows what else. And you have to be able to field 13, minimum of 13 players. And when I look down on our list, our 13 include 2 goalkeepers. So I don't know where we stand on that. But if we've got a genuine case to be able to postpone a game, I don't think Arteta would have even attempted it had Jurgen Klopp not made such a big thing about it. And we all know now that it was just absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but Jurgen Klopp's decision and his asking to change the game and what they did affected so many. There was so much knock-on effect to it that, had we played Liverpool where we were meant to play Liverpool, we might not be in the position that we're in now in terms of the NLD. So for me, on the one hand, I want it to go ahead, and on the other hand, I feel, in fairness, if it's a genuine case, that we should be allowed to have that option to postpone. But I'm not saying I agree with the postponement. I'd rather the game went ahead.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Okay, let's go to Caio. In addition to all of that, yeah. Don't you feel like it's? By the way, I don't disagree with Steven when he says that if they say they have 19 COVID cases, yes, the game should be postponed. But when you find out that that's all bollocks, it should be investigated. And it not being
Yeah.
investigated, that's a scandal. That's a
Yeah.
scandal in my eyes. Like, I don't know why people are not pissed about this. I feel
I
like
know
it's kind
still.
of criminal. It's kind of criminal. I'm going to Caillou now. Caillou, thoughts?
Yeah, as far as I understand, actually, we needed 14 players, right? 13 players and one goalkeeper, and we have 12 players and two goalkeepers. And I think that this is the problem for postponing the game. I don't know. I think that the game should be postponed, but I think it will go ahead. So I'm right now. I'm more worried about the lineup we're going to field Sunday. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't lose too much time thinking about it. I just
We're
think it should have
fucked.
been postponed. As you said, we cannot have two different measures on this
Exactly.
matter, but it is what it is.
I'm with you 100%. Ryan, do you disagree with us?
Where do
Lucas says
you
it's
know
gonna go
what?
ahead.
I'm either or. I'm either or. I think the game will still go ahead because, to be honest with you, when we can even go back to start of the season, and we had cases against Brentford. Look what happened. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And even
Yeah.
still, I just look at it like this. Like I look at it, and again, I look at Arsenal. I just think, well, if Maitland Niles didn't go to Roma, we bring in some adequate players in, then maybe the game could have still been played. And then the whole, like you said, I mean, the whole Liverpool knock-on effect just looks like, oh yeah, well, we can do it as well. So I'm kind of leaning to what Steven's saying. So to be honest, if the game goes on, the game goes on. If it gets pulled off, it gets pulled off. I just don't want to lose to Tottenham. It's as simple as that. But I mean, when I look at it, I mean, boy, I don't know. I don't know. Like to be honest with you guys, just to sum it up, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. I just
Right?
gotta be real.
No, that's more than fair. And transitioning to the next subject, if it does happen, how confident are we? What are we expecting to see? How worried are we? It's
I
probably
wish
a relief
shithouse in
that
that
Son
game.
is not playing.
I wish
With
shithouse in that
Shithausen?
game 1-0, mate. With
You think so?
it's gonna be mate. It's gonna be Spurs all over. We're gonna have half our squad out. We're gonna play a bunch of people out of position and God knows what. We're gonna shit out of that game 1-0.
Hmm.
Telling
All
you,
right.
mate. Telling you. Typical. It's
Um,
gonna be a typical Spurs. We're gonna have like their version of lasagna gate, but COVID gate, right? But we're still gonna win.
all
I'm
right,
not
that's
gonna
a very
predict Ars.
specific.
I don't care. I don't. I'm not predicting Tottenham to lose. Tottenham to beat Arsenal. I never
Not
do
no.
it. You're not gonna get me on camera saying Arsenal are gonna lose against Tottenham, right? I don't care
Right.
if you think I'm deluded, right? But it's the one game I will never ever say Tottenham will beat Arsenal. No.
Yo, I absolutely
I
love
respect
it.
that.
That's a very specific prediction as well.
Anyone
Love it.
else,
Love it.
fine. Not
No,
Tottenham.
love to hear it, mate. Love to hear it. But with that being said, what are you most worried about? Because it would probably be
I'm worried
Son
about
against
everything.
Cedric. It would probably be Son against Cedric. That's a very
Yeah.
like worrying
No,
Son,
matchup.
Son's
Son,
I don't
out.
think that's
Son's
happening.
injured.
Yeah,
Son's
He's
out.
out.
Son's
Sun's
exactly,
out.
out.
exactly. So that
He's
matchup's
out.
not gonna happen. It's not gonna be happening. So everything,
Probably be
is
Luton.
that your answer? Everything worries you?
Yeah, everything worries me. Right,
Okay.
mate, this is Arsenal Football Club under Mikel Arteta. Everything worries me.
All right, fair enough, mate. Nils, your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm quite I'm quite confident about going there after what I saw last night. I think we'll put the same kind of good defensive performance on there. I watched them play Chelsea, and I hate to say this, but I mean, the ref for them tried to get them tried to get them some penalties. It didn't work out. VAR was against them that night. I think it just depends on the day, but I think we can do it. I honestly think we can do it. I'm quite confident. I know that sounds a bit mad with the way we are, but with them not having Son, that's the biggest problem. He's one of their best. Well, he's their best player in my opinion.
He is. Yeah.
So yeah, I would go with Stephen. A dirty 1-0, scrappy 1-0.
I'd be absolutely fine with that. You know, it's weird. Caio, how do you feel about this? Like we've come to the day where my biggest worry about the Tottenham game is Lucas Moura. That's weird. Like I did not expect that.
Yeah, the thing is that I don't worry too much about their players. I worry about not having our players. So if we can count on having Tomiyasu Takehiro, as you like to say,
Yes.
if we can count on
That is the
having
worst impression ever.
Takehiro,
Good.
Takehiro Tomiyasu.
Takehiro Tomiyasu.
so
Go ahead.
if we can have him, if we can have Smith Rowe back, I don't know about this groin injury. I don't know if it's that serious. If we can have Saka because he kind of got beaten yesterday.
Mate, that guy could have a broken leg and not still playing.
Yeah. So I would say that with all those players and maybe counting on holding in the place of Ben White and Ben White playing the midfield, I don't worry about Spurs at all. Actually, I agree with Niels
You
about
meaning Ben White's
Tottenham and
got more than
Chelsea.
the ball.
They were rubbish, both legs. I watched both legs, so I'm not scared about them. But if we have to field under 23s into the game on Sunday, I will be worrying a lot. So that's
They're
a
the ones
problem.
who hate Tottenham the most, though. So.
Yeah, they're the ones that hate Tottenham the most. They're
Yeah.
England boys, mate.
Yo,
Sure.
watch Omari Hutchinson score the winner with a screamer because he likes those. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that game?
I have to echo what you just said. I mean, I'm more worried about what we have.
Can you speak up just a little bit, mate? Because it's a little low.
Is it too low? How about that?
It got a
That's
little too
perfect.
loud, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's good.
Yeah, I'm more worried about what we have, of course, rather than Tottenham. I know they ain't exactly been the starlets lately, but I mean, our record there's not great. Let's be honest. The last couple of managers, them, Arteta, of course, last few games, Emery, even Wenger. When was the last time we won there? I can't even remember. Like, I think Arteta was a playoff. I think that's the last time we actually beat Tottenham at their ground.
It was Tommy Wazitsky.
There you go. There you go.
And
How many years ago that-
if you don't count the EFL Cup, that is where it's Flamini,
Oh,
like
geez.
doing the Jon Jensen moment, like on his right foot.
I
Mm.
remember that. That was crazy. But
That
still,
was
that's what I'm
peak.
saying. Look how long ago that was. You know what I mean? That's just Flamini. But look, long story short, I'm not gonna lie. I have my doubts, and I don't like saying there's been. I just don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to say it, but I'm sure you guys know
Go
I'm
on.
thinking it. And the only reason why is I can't stand these lot. I really can't stand these lot. Growing up, I used to hate Chelsea more than them because I never used to worry about these guys. These guys used to be like a little, like a little spot, a little itch on your back. Just go away. So I've got bigger fishes to fry, but these lot just love to talk up. I want to spin them so bad, but I just don't know. I really don't know how to call this, guys. I'll be honest. I really don't know.
I've actually, just to touch on that Chelsea thing, like I've said this multiple times throughout my YouTube career, but dude, if you watch the Premier League and you're not English, unless you're a hardcore fan, you have no idea Tottenham is our biggest rival. You have no idea.
You
They
see
don't
that?
exist outside of England.
Man,
They
you see
don't
that?
really exist. I kind of.
Right. You see that?
It's small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was on the end. That was on the bottom of my sock. That's what Tottenham means. That's what Tottenham is.
Exactly.
There you go.
Sorry,
Fuck
say
'em.
There
that.
you
Say
go.
that again, Molly. You're saying that you don't see us as them as our biggest rival.
Yeah, we're trying to
No, I
teach him
mean,
the rivalry.
I'm an avid Arsenal follower. I've been that way for a long time now. So yeah, I know how big they are. Mainly ever since I started talking to a lot of English people. But beforehand, I knew it was our biggest rival, but I didn't feel that way. You know, like I don't really have friends to banter, and they never became a big club. They've been better than us for a couple years,
You're a
but
lucky
they
one.
never became a big club. Like we sort of
Yeah.
like
It's-
we
When,
became
hang on
a
a minute.
medium club at some point, but we're getting back.
Hang
What?
on a
Go
minute.
ahead.
When did they ever become the big club?
They're not
That's
a
what
big
I'm
club.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
They,
Eh,
I think it depends what you want to say rivalry is. In terms of locality, they are our
Locality.
local
Yeah.
rivals because they're just up the road. But if you want to talk about Arsenal's actual rivals in terms of trophies and history and
It should be.
achievements, then we're up there with Liverpool and Man United because we're the three top clubs in the country. And granted,
Well,
can't deny that
Chelsea are
City and
behind
to
us as
Chelsea
be
are
well.
to be
catching
fair,
up.
we're to be fair. As a general whole, if you want to take locality into it as well, we should be looking at Chelsea.
Yeah.
But
I think
I'm
so
looking at
too.
Our
Chelsea. I've
biggest
always looked at Chelsea.
rivals should be Chelsea right now.
Yeah.
Then it should be Liverpool, Man United, because
Yeah.
like Liverpool, Man United are the ones without the locality in it. Chelsea are the
Yeah.
ones with the locality involved. Tottenham, they ain't got nothing. They got locality, and that is it. That's the only reason they're relevant to us. Like, that's the only reason. Like, don't forget, they didn't used to be part of North London. They used to be part of Middlesex. Like, that's when they last won the league.
Caio, you raise your finger. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just about to agree with all of you guys because here in Brazil, at least I can say
Yeah.
that the broadcasting of the Premier League does influence the things a little bit because when the Premier League started to be broadcasted here by ESPN, the biggest rivalry in England were Arsenal and United, and then Arsenal and Chelsea began to rise to the top. So these are when we have here Arsenal United, the advertisement in the TV is almost the same as Arsenal and Tottenham, or even more than City and United. I don't know. Now City is more relevant is relevant again. So actually, Man United and Arsenal are kind of bigger games here in Brazil than Arsenal Tottenham.
It's a legendary status. Probably.
Knowledge. That's his middle name. That's why I'm here. You know, like I just kind of say stuff, and he comes with a science behind it.
Stop that! Stop that!
All right. All right. You know what? I kind of I forgot something. I'm gonna go back really quick because I like asking this. Who was your guys' man of the match against Liverpool? Totally forgot.
Saka
Anyway,
for me.
Ramsdale.
Saka
Leno, actually. Leno for me. He pulled some
against
great saves out.
Liverpool.
Leno.
He didn't play.
Who?
Oh, no.
Ramsdale plays, bro.
That was Ramsdale, sorry. Ramsdale then. The goalkeeper.
They didn't get shots on target. Me.
They had one, I think.
Yeah,
Was
because
it,
I'm
did they
thinking
not
of the
have
wrong.
one
I'm
on
thinking
target?
of,
They had
mate, I'm
one
thinking of the wrong game.
after the
Ben,
90 minutes
Yeah,
in
yeah.
extra time.
Ben, yeah, I would say. I'm gonna go
Benjamin
Tierney.
White.
Tierney. Okay. Ben
I'm going
White.
Tierney. Do you
Caio.
know, I'm going Tierney because you know why? Tierney was. He didn't let hardly anything go down that left hand side at all.
He
That
was
left hand
good. He
side
was
was
very,
shut.
very good.
Was
He was
solid.
great. It was great. It was great. Okay, Ryan.
Benny Hill. The reason why I
Benny
pick
Hill.
him, cause the only reason I pick him, because don't get me wrong, Tierney did well, and you're right, Stephen. Nothing really came down his side, but there were times where he just made some really crucial blocks, and I just said to myself, "Cool, keep playing like that. Like I said earlier when we were talking about it, keep doing that. And yeah, man, I just feel that was probably his best game I've seen, probably in an Arsenal shirt. That's my personal opinion. So yeah, I'd have to go with Benny Hill. That's his name until he sorts it out properly.
Benny Hill.
Yeah,
All
man.
right, I'm gonna go with Ben White as well. I think he was
No,
solid.
fuck you, man.
I think he has been. I'm sorry, Steven. I'm sorry.
You don't
Okay,
need help.
so
Hey, no one's saying Xhaka though. Come on, man.
Yeah, you don't need the advice on what a bloody defender's about.
so we have one
I
Saka,
grew up a
one
Bolton.
Tierney, three for Ben White. I feel like Lacazette had a really good game as well. I feel like those would probably be the fair
That's all
shouts.
right. You can three of you can say Ben White. It just means three of you are wrong.
Okay, sure. It's not how democracy works. Okay,
I
before we
don't
go to
care.
transfer talk, this is a really long stream for our standards, but I'm really enjoying myself. One of my favorite Gunners Roll corners ever. So if you're still watching us, thank you, and please share, like, subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's get through these transfer talks really quickly. Um, again, I'm sorry, mate. I know it's kind of embarrassing to you, but I listened to your podcast and it was just dynamite. And I kind of want you to do like talk about the Arthur and the
Let's go.
Vlahovic
Let's go.
situation here a little bit. I'd love that because it was so solid, mate. But I want to hear everyone's thoughts on these two. Like they seem to be the two priorities right now. Let's start with you, though, Kyle.
Okay, so you want me to talk about Arthur and Vlahovic or just Vlahovic?
Let's start with Arthur actually because everyone. I
Okay.
think Vlahovic is going to be the first acquisition if we get him. If he says yes, we're
I'll be
asking.
back in a minute, guys.
Yeah, that's okay. If he says I do, he's probably gonna be the first purchase. But I think the priority should be the midfield, and you think that as well. Most people do. And I wanna ask you about Arthur first because most people see it as a really lackluster transfer. I think it's really underwhelming. I'm not a fan of Arthur, but like listening to your podcast, it got me to understand it a little more, and I want you to share that with us.
Yeah, so basically my thought is that Arthur is a player who wants to have the ball, wants to treat the ball well, and maybe he's not so solid defensively.
Yeah,
And this is the biggest worry of the Arsenal fans right now, my understanding. Mostly Brazilian fans, but I think in general.
yeah,
And I think that since he's gone from Brazil, he went to Barca, then he went to Juventus, and both clubs are not in a good situation this last few seasons. So we're talking about the worst Barcelona of the last 20 years, a
yeah,
Barcelona that had coaches that were not giving priority to having the ball and having a proper structure around the midfield, a structure that could protect the players, that could make their job easier, counter pressing or even pressing. So Arthur really, I know there's some attitude problems with Arthur, but if we put that apart and we analyze the player and his characteristics, I think that he was not given a proper context to be successful in Barcelona. And the same could be said about Juventus, because even though Juventus were in a better state domestically than Barcelona these last few
yeah,
seasons, the league's not the same compared to the Premier League. And Sahi had Mauricio Sahi,
yeah,
the first coach that worked with Arthur there, had a lot of problems trying to establish a proper structure, a patterns of play, and then we had Pirlo that even though he's a midfielder, he's not his team was not considered a good ball playing side.
yeah,
So we can talk about, I don't know, four or five coaches that did not offer Arthur the proper structure for him to succeed. And we might, maybe Arsenal fans had trouble believing it in at first, but now I think it's clear that Arteta has some good thoughts, good patterns of play with the ball. And one of our main improvements this season has been the pressing and the high pressing also. So we are in a position where we can offer Arthur the structure for him to succeed. I do think that he is intense when he's marking, when he's defending, because of his size and because he's not the fastest player around. Of course, he will suffer with the speed of play in the Premier League. He will suffer to cover space. He's not a big space player. He's very much of a tight space player. But if we can put him to play in games where he will mostly recycle the play and progress the play and carry the ball, and defensively matches where he can mainly counter press, I think that he will be a good, useful player. We're not talking about a player who I think Arsenal should go out of his way to buy for, I don't know, 40 million, 50 million. No, we're talking about a useful player that if he succeeds at Arsenal, we could even think about buying for, I don't know, 20, 30 million. I do think he has the potential to be that player, and I think that he was not given the proper context in his few clubs. Even so, his last days at Grêmio here in Brazil, I think that it was not the same team that he played in 2017 and won the Libertadores of America. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I am an optimist by nature. So, but I did some analysis on the player, and as long as the attitude problems that I spoke first, as long as these are not problems at Arsenal, I think he will have a good 6 months here.
Sure, Mo. Dude, like you're not gonna hear a more in-depth analysis if you're watching ESPN Brazil. Matter of fact, if you ask Arthur to describe himself, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't go that far. Thank you, mate. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're
Right?
welcome.
Does anyone watch the Serie A enough to be talking about Arthur in depth here?
No,
Does it? Did it ever? What were your guys' initial feeling about that potential signing? It does look like it's gonna happen.
but
Nils
nothing.
and Steven, go ahead.
Okay.
Or Nils,
Well,
whoever talks first.
do you want to go first now?
No, go on. I'll listen.
Oh, okay. In terms of, well, I don't know him, so like, some people saying he's not all that. Some people saying he's good. Some like mixture. Um, I'd say I look at when I look at a defend or any sort of player, I look at what we've got in the team already, and I'm looking at can he improve the squad. Now, the midfielders we've got: Partey, El Neni, Xhaka, Lokonga. Like that's before we put all the where they at and where what like and the fact that some of them are Afcon and everything. Can he improve in that midfield? Is that an improvement of what we got in that midfield? And I'm looking at it, and yes, he can
It
replace Xhaka, for example. You're never gonna sit there and convince me that anyone like is shitting in Xhaka. I'm
We're not
better
gonna
than
go back to
Xhaka.
Xhaka, but that's fair
Like
enough. That's fair
so,
enough.
but there you go. But so for me, I would if as a 6 month option, plus as someone to get in while in this situation because we put ourselves in this situation where we need someone fast, right? So if Gini Wijnaldum's stalling and it's only just rumours and not going anywhere, and yet Arthur's a deal that's going to happen like now, then fine, get it in now because we need players now. We need midfielders now. We can't just sit around and ask for the player that we really really want While instead, we need to get the player that we just get a player that we need in. And as people might say that he's good or bad, he is an improvement on players like Xhaka. And unfortunately, Lokonga is still too young yet. He's not ready yet, so he needs help. So for me, it's a 6 month loan, which means we're not buying him with no and we haven't got an obligation to buy him as well. It means we after 6 months, if he ain't good enough, you just get rid of him. Simple as that. So like, so it's a win-win. So I don't see what the problem is with him. I don't see what the problem in buying him is.
No,
Anyone
that's
that you might
that's absolutely
people
fine.
people might think he's poor, but in the end, like he's better than what we got, and it's only going to last 6 months, so we're not losing that money on him. So
Yeah. Okay. Nils, Ryan, you guys, because I know these two very well, so I've heard their opinion on this. So in addition to this, like, do you agree that it's really a matter, like, at the end of the day, we really need numbers, and the standards at midfield are not that high, so we really just want someone that's gonna kind of improve us and give us more backing. And in addition to that, like, who would have been your priority at midfield? Because Caio and myself were two huge admirers of Bruno Guimarães, and we're definitely very frustrated that it's not happening. Let's start with you, Nils.
I tend to agree with everything that's been said. When it comes to transfers, I've got a little bit of a thing about it in that you can look at the best player in the world in any team and then bring them to Arsenal. It doesn't mean they're going to play like they play in their team at Arsenal. They've got to, Stephen said it, Arteta's got to look at his team and look what's best, what's going to fit in best in his team. Right now, with that short that we need more numbers than anything. I'm happy with us bringing in new players, but I can't comment on their skills and what they've got because I don't really watch anything other than Premier League, maybe a bit of Championship. But I'd be happy with bolstering up what we need. I have watched the Bruno Guimaraes, and I do like
Big
him.
games. Big games.
Big games.
Big games.
Guimarães.
I should be able to say that in the right accent because my family are actually from Portugal. So,
Yeah.
so they, it's Brazilian, Portuguese, same thing, isn't it? So I am happy that we are looking to strengthen. Really happy about that. In terms of what we need, for me, Arteta's got to make whoever comes in work with our team. So for me, it doesn't matter what they're like in another club. But yes, the other thing I will just say about the transfer windows, I have always thought that January windows is an opportunity to shop about in the Premier League, in English clubs, see what's available from within, because it's a quick fix, because it's somebody that's already used to English football, Premier League, they understand, blah, blah, blah. I would prefer us to look there, but I slim pickings at the minute. There isn't much to go for. But I'm looking at the way Villa are doing the business, and I'm not saying that we should go for the players they went for, but they very quickly looked at where they were short and they've filled those positions with some pretty decent players for them. I hope whoever comes in is able to help us and is able to strengthen the team to get us to somewhere where we can look at a proper bolstering with some, better players. But we've got to get rid of the dead wood. How many times do we say it? When I saw Kolasinac come on the other day, I had to ring my mate and say, I thought we sold him. What's going on? Do you understand what I mean? If we're buying, we've got to do some getting rid of as well. That's my view.
I mean, most people would argue that Xhaka is part of that wood, though.
I know.
Yeah. Ryan, you're next.
Yeah. Personally, there's only two players that I would have loved to have come in, and it just doesn't seem like this is going to happen. Arthur, I'm going to get to the players in a sec. Arthur, I watched him a little bit when he was at Barca, so recently I'm not sure what he's saying now. And even if we were to bring it in, are we going to change the system? Because as far as I'm aware, he's a number 8. And I don't know if that's going to be much useful to us. I'm kind of more, we need a DM right now. But having said that, the two people I would have liked Arsenal to go on in, which is a Villa target as well, and that's Basuma. That's someone I've wanted to come to Arsenal for the last couple of seasons. And, you know, I've heard this talk about Bruno. I probably watched 2 games of him. I like what I see. So if he came in, I'd be happy with that. So those are the only 2 people I would like to come in right now. But, I mean, I'm hearing Juventus are after him right now. And it's like, so what? Are we going to help Juventus get Bruno by taking Arthur? And it's a bit of a shot in the toe. Why can't we go in to Leon and be like, look, let us take him on loan. We give you more money on top. Forget what Juventus are doing. We'll pay you more. And I think Arsenal are trying to get the midfielder on loan so they can try and get this Vlahovic deal over the line. That's just me personally, what I think they're trying to do. But don't spend too long on this Vlahovic deal because I don't want it to be another Locatelli situation like we did in the summer. You know what I mean? So that's just my initial thoughts.
Yeah. Stating facts.
Would anyone take Ramsey back?
No.
Just temporarily.
Temporarily, if he asks for like 10% of the money he usually asks for, sure. But he's very injury prone. I feel like that ship has sailed, and he's on too much money.
Okay.
But I wanna wait. What was I gonna talk about?
Sorry.
I forget. But it does look like we're going to be missing out on Bruno Guimarães. I wish we did that too, like just a loan with the obligation to buy, but paying more money than Juve. But it does look like Arsenal is prioritizing the market opportunity of landing probably the second best young striker in the well, actually, you could argue Mbappe is still a young striker too. So third best young striker in the world in Vlahovic. And I can't give Caio as much time as I did before for him to analyze Vlahovic, but he does have very interesting opinions on that one. But do you guys agree with that? It's more about like market opportunity. I feel like he's the priority in the long run, so we want to focus on getting him, and we're hoping for the best on the midfield. We're just getting anyone. Go ahead, Steve.
Just make a point, Luca. There's nothing about Arsenal Spurs off, so stop making claims, please. Simple. Until you've got an actual fact saying so, no.
Okay.
There hasn't been it hasn't been confirmed yet.
It'll be confirmed tomorrow. They've already said that.
Yes. So stop saying Spurs off because it's only a request, which we already know. And in terms of Arthur, you might say you don't want Arthur, mate, but like at least Marley and like Caio, I can hear their opinion about it because like they've seen Arthur play. Unless you've seen a player play, you can't say he's shit. Right, and if you haven't seen him play, Luca, you can't say he's shit.
All right.
Simple. Sorry,
it's absolutely fine, mate. So we gotta be wrapping up soon. So I'm gonna try to make this really fast. I'm gonna ask all of you if you'd be happy with the Vlahovic signing, and if you'd prefer someone else other than him. I actually know Kaya's opinion on that, but I do want him to explain why he thinks Tony's the best option right now, because it's not something that you hear very often, but it is really interesting. I'm going to start with you, Nils. Would you be happy with Vlahovic? Who would be your favorite striker to join right
now? Yes, I would. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm not too sure that is something for now. Definitely maybe this summer, once we know what's happening with Aubameyang, Lacazette. But I think our striking options are not too bad when they're on form.
Yeah.
But I have no issue with bringing a striker in, on loan, whatever. Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
But I
That's
can't
fair enough.
comment on players that I haven't watched. I'm not going to
Yeah, of
pretend that I've
course.
watched a couple
Of
of
course.
YouTube.
Of
But
course.
he sounds like the guy that we need from what I'm hearing, so I'm happy with it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Ryan.
Again, I haven't seen that much of him myself, so I'm not gonna say yes. But I do like Ivan Toney as an option. I have said this before, so I don't think Arsenal are looking at him as an option. But he's used to the league as it is. I think we've got players that can accommodate to him, so he would be an option. Jonathan David would be a very good option, but that's probably going to happen in the summer if we were to go for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vlahovic need to see more, to be honest. So I'm not really going to comment on him. But yeah.
All right. Awesome. Steven, I know who you're gonna say, but please do repeat it and explain why you think he'd be the best option.
Who?
And André Silva.
Well, look, Vlahovic, right. I've seen a bit of him, but from what I've also heard when I've been trying to read up on him, first of all, you're looking for a striker that'll get over 20 goals in the league, let alone all comps, right? Vlahovic can do that. This season he's proven he can do that. I don't know what his stats were last season, but this season he's definitely proven so. If you look at Andre Silva, for example, last season he got 29 goals in all comps and 28 goals in the league, and that was just for Frankfurt in only 32 games, and 32, and a number of the games he was playing in 10 assists as well, which
That's crazy.
if you're looking for the striking role for Arsenal, it's a bit complicated because the way we're playing and the way Arteta wants to play, he wants a complete forward up front, like a target man up front, complete forward, where not only he gets goals, he holds the ball up. So he brings midfielders into play so they score goals. So, and that's the only reason why we're getting rid of Lacazette, because he doesn't score goals on top of that, right? So that if you're looking at the two stats with a Vlahovic and an Andre Silva, you say Andre Silva is the more complete forward because he's getting more assists as well as more goals. So, and if you actually listen to people who have seen him play, he does do that. He does do that more. Now, whether these players adapt to the Premier League is another kettle of fish. Most strikers come here and don't adapt. And that's most in general. That's not just specific players. So, people, I don't get this Calvert-Lewin hype. I'm glad we're not going for him because he doesn't. He's played in the league for how long? Never got over 20 goals in the league, right? Ivan Toney, he's only been in the league for one season, so I don't even know if he gets over 20 league goals. We can't. That's an unproven chalice. So you need. So if people are saying they take Vlahovic, but they're not going to take Andre Silva because they won't adapt to the Premier League, well, you don't know Vlahovic is going to adapt to the Premier League. So how do you know? And if anything that Vlahovic can do at the minute, which is if Vlahovic can get 30 goals in the league, which is big ask because he's come from Serie A, where it's the slowest league of all and the less comparable to the Premier League, of all because of how slow it is, he might struggle with the pace of it compared to a Bundesliga Andre Silva, who's playing in a faster league, and it's more similar to how we play than it is to how the Serie A play. So if I was going to look at the two, I'd say an Andre Silva would be more adapting to the Premier League and more adapted to the pace of the league than an Vlahovic for me. But then again, he's at Leipzig. The reason people are saying we're never going to get him is not because he's shit. It's because he's at Leipzig. Yeah. So it means we're going to need Champions League football to even tempt him to get him to come out of there. And he's only just joined.
Yeah,
I'd love
more
him
than
there.
fair, mate. That's more than fair.
It's not saying I wouldn't take Vlahovic, but I think the problem with Vlahovic is the last thing, which is the main point. He's very young.
Yeah,
he is young. But Andre Silva is my sort of bracket, a 25, 26-year-old that's more over the age of what we've got, but has got that bit of experience already when in a big team to be able to imply to the younger players, and has been there
Yeah.
and done it. Whereas, and he can keep along with how old the team is. Whereas, Vadovic just it's again, where's the experience in the team? Where is it?
Yeah. He's
And
he's
that's the big bugbear with Vadovic for me. That's probably why I would rather an Andre Silva.
all right. No, that's
That's a good
great
shout.
arguments. Great arguments.
Yeah.
Who was talking? Who was saying
No,
something?
I was just saying that's a good shout with Andre Silva, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
good
No.
shout.
You know what? I just want to say two things. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. I'm gonna give you the word back before I go to Caio and wrap up. But I just want to say two things. I know that's not all you mean, but I do think Vlahovic is faster than Andres Silva. I know you're talking about the tempo of the league and all that. I'm
I'm
not
talking about
disagreeing. Yeah, yeah, of
the
course.
league and the tempo of the league is
And
just that
there's no,
it makes him harder to adapt. And
yeah.
people saying that Vadovic can get 30 goals in the Premier League. Whoa,
That's a
whoa,
guess.
calm down.
That's taking a guess. That's taking a wild guess.
That's a big gamble to say
Yeah.
that, because like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Gotta
easy
move
to
on.
do it in the Serie A with the way Velovic is playing. Right?
Hmm.
No, I have very rarely seen a striker come. I don't even think any of strikers come from the Serie A where it's so slow
No, he can't. It doesn't
compared
translate.
to the Premier
It
League
doesn't
and go
translate. Yeah.
straight into the Premier League and winning
Mhm.
maybe 2 or 3 seasons or any point in his career whilst being in the league, gone over 30 goals in the league.
You're
No
right.
way.
You're right. And I can't really put holes on your logic there. I think my preference for Vlahovic over Andre Silva is simply based on potential. That's probably why he's my favorite one,
Mm.
but that's not taking into account how much he would cost. And I think that's where Caio doesn't think he's the best option because I'm assuming Caio doesn't think he's better than sorry, Tony's better than him, but I think you're talking about like the cost and benefits of the whole thing. Explain if you think Vlahovic would work out, if you think he's a good fit, and why you feel like Ivan Tony should be the best option we should be looking for.
Yeah, yeah. I think Ivan Tony would be cheaper, but I don't. I also like the Andre Silva option.
Hmm.
Steven said
Mm.
had spoken about him last week, and I forgot to mention anything about it. But I do like Andre Silva. I think that Andre Silva. I have studied him a bit, and during the summer transfer window, and I do think that Andre Silva is not as good with the link up play, even though his assist numbers are kind of high for the position. He plays in a two striker formation. He
I
played
hear
a
that
lot of
because
time in it.
when I've only seen a little bit, so I've only just seen the stats of it. So that's kind of what I was alluding to. But that's why I can hear that, because like you've
Yeah,
seen a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
more than him. No.
Yeah, but he's good. I like the player. I really like Andre Silva, and I don't know how much it would cost for us to get him. Maybe way less than 70 million. I don't know.
Mm.
I when I say that I like the Ivan Tony option is because Ivan Tony is also very good winning duels in the ground, in the air. His intent when he's building a play, helping his team get up the pitch is very, very, very good. I do think he's very brave, and maybe he's not scoring as many goals as we would like to see he scoring before buying a player for I don't know 30 million, 40 million. But when we check his record of goals in the lower leagues, when his team was playing in a league at their level. So he was scoring, I don't know, 20 goals, 30 goals, all comps. So he's a good goal scorer. In the Premier League, maybe he's being used too much to get Brentford up the pitch. And because he's too good at that, at winning duels and building a play, his link up play is very, very. I do rate the player very much. So maybe he's not spending too much, as many time in the area as he should have. And Vlahovic is also a player with good link of play. He also wins his duels in the ground, in the air. He's fast for the Serie A league. I don't know how that would compare to the Premier League. I really don't know, but I do think the player is fast and he's very strong. The amount of times where he can sustain the play, he receives the ball one against one and he spins on his marker and he carries the ball forward. He's very very good, but 70 million euros good. I don't know. I think the transfer fee would be very very hefty for what we should pay for a striker.
Kai, just 1 second because this is
Big
Jan.
up, Jem, man.
Big up, big up. I miss you, brother. Good to see you checking up on us, and hope you're doing well as well, mate. I'll shoot you a message. Just talking to you. Go ahead, wrap up what you were saying, Kaya.
Yeah, no, that's it. I would be happy if we got Andre Silva. I think that maybe we could go for him for 50 million because the transfer fee, if I'm not mistaken, Frankfurt paid a lot of money for him.
I think he'd cost more or less the same thing Vlahovic would cost me. That's the thing.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we are talking how much for Vlahovic? Because if we're saying if we're talking 40 million, 50 million, I think we should go for Vlahovic. If we're talking what Fiorentina wants, 70
Yeah.
million, 68 million, then I don't think
Yeah.
Andre Silva cost that for Frankfurt. But that's
No,
it,
but
man.
if you're buying them from Leipzig, since they already spent like 30, I think they spent 30, they're probably going to want at the very least like 50, 55. Would you take
Yeah,
55 plus Torreira? Do you think that's a good deal?
for who?
It's
Sorry.
55 million plus Torreira for Vlahovic.
Yeah, because look how long his contract left is. He's got less than 18 months as well. So that's gonna have to kind of affect it. The 75 is a bit like, bro, he's got 18 months left. It's not that deep. You know what I mean? But we know many teams are gonna try to come for him in the summer if we don't get the deal done this window. So I just want to quickly say that. Sorry, that's my point.
No, that's it's all good, guys. I think it's the longest stream I've ever done for Gunner Trommel Corners, but no regrets. It was really good, really good. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Hope you all did as well. Thank you so much for staying with me for almost 2 hours, and if you're watching, thank you even more. Come on, like amazing, big up all of you. I'm gonna give all of you a chance to say a final piece if you have something to say, but also to shout out your social medias, like where people can find you, what you guys are going to be up to. Let's start with you. Thank you for being here. You're always back. Hope you come back very soon. Let me take the transfer talk banner out of your face. I apologize for that. Go ahead.
Me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've given you the full screen. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember my Twitter handle. I think it's Olive Queen or something like that. Olive Queen 1472. I'm just waiting to see if we're going to Tottenham on Sunday. That's all I'm thinking about. So yeah.
That's more than fair. I'll let you guys know right now. Actually, okay. So that's Olive Queen 1472. That's actually right. Do give her a follow and hope to see her back here. Ryan, my man, we've been trying to do this stream together for a while. I'm glad it worked out. Not fully because we didn't see you as much as I wanted to, but dude, great stream together. Where can people find you? What are you going to be up to?
Well, it's a pleasure, man. We've been trying to do this for a very long time. I will try and sort out the technical difficulties because, yeah, it's a little bit of a mess. Great to meet up with you all guys again. Stephen, pleasure as always, you know. Guys, check out my YouTube channel, Ryan Williams AFC. Probably going to do maybe another Tottenham preview tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And as well, Twitter handle at RJ Wills. You know me, no filter. I just say how it is. Thanks again, guys.
All right, man. Thank you. You're always welcome back. If you ever, I don't know, Arsenal signs a Brazilian, you want me and Caio, just text me. I'll get it sorted. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Caio, mate. Go ahead. His content's in Portuguese, but Twitter does translate, so please do shout it out.
Yeah, thanks, friend. Thank you guys for having me. You can all find me at here, AFC underscore FOCO. And thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Always a delight, mate. Always a delight. And my main man, Steven. I know he doesn't look that way always, but I love this guy to absolute death. Absolute death. Okay. Yeah. Where can people find you, my man? Give them my home address, please.
You can find us on SVT TV, where we do Arsenal and football content. The F1 content will be going to its own channel called SVT F1. I've just set up its Twitter page, so if you literally, it's SVT at SVT, just put F1 on the end of that, and you'll find SVT F1. Go and follow it right now. I've still got to sort out the YouTube channel account and also talk to FTB Sports because it's got to be linked to them, I believe. So we've got to have a word with them about it. But it's going to be sort of the same thing, but it's just a new home for F1 content. Half of the money that, if that does ever get monetized, that one, half of the money that we raise from that one will go to the charity. So unlike the 80-20% that the SVT TV does, 50% will go to the charity. So it's still basically in turn raising money for Children's Liver Disease Foundation.
Big up, mate. Big up. You're just a solid human being, mate. It's clear to see that you need a haircut right now, but still you're not using the money. You're sending it to charity. So, mate, yeah,
Mate,
awesome,
there's
guys.
nothing wrong with it, man. Leave it.
Thank you guys so much once again. Stay tuned to Football United TV. Follow and support all of these wonderful people, but stay tuned to Football United TV. Some exciting content coming up. Gunners from all corners again next week. United content, the politics show, introduce yourself, everything Matt does that's so lovely. I think Caio and I are going to be doing a little Brazilian content soon to tap into the Brazilian market a little bit and hope that Arsenal listens.
Finish.
And
All the Gabriels and the Brunos and the
exactly, exactly. All the Martinellis. Yeah, all of them. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.